Do you have pain that won't go away? Do you feel like you've tried it all and are still seeking relief? Are you interested in the brain's role in pain and how you can change pain patterns for good? Welcome back to Retrain Your Brain for Chronic Illness. I'm Madeleine Lowry, a neural retraining specialist, and today we're going to talk about something that affects millions of people and yet is still widely misunderstood, and that is chronic pain. If you are listening to this episode, chances are you or someone you love has lived with pain that doesn't seem to respond to treatment. Pain that persists despite normal scans, physical therapy, medications, supplements, or even surgery. And over time, that kind of pain can feel defeating, frightening, and isolating. Today, I want to offer a different way of understanding chronic pain, one that doesn't invalidate your experience, doesn't suggest that the pain is imaginary, and doesn't ask you to just think positive. Instead, we're going to talk about how pain is created and maintained by the brain, and how working with the subconscious mind can help you get unstuck. Let's start with something very important, and that is that your pain is real. When we talk about the brain's role in pain, we are not saying that the pain is all in your head. Pain is always real. What we are saying is that pain is processed, interpreted, and regulated by the brain. And that is an important distinction because it opens the door to new possibilities for healing. All pain, whether acute or chronic, is generated by the brain. Even when there is a clear physical injury, pain is not a direct readout of tissue damage. It is an interpretation. And this is why two people with the same injury can experience very different levels of pain. And it is also why pain can persist long after tissues have healed. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence for this comes from extreme examples. People in life-threatening situations like car accidents or battlefield injuries often report feeling no pain until they are safe. On the other end of the spectrum, people can experience severe pain in a limb that no longer exists, what we call phantom pain. In that case, there is no physical tissue sending a signal, and yet the pain is very real. These examples show us something critical. The brain can both create pain and inhibit it. Now, when it comes to chronic pain, we're not talking about pain that serves a useful warning function. Chronic pain is pain that has outlived its purpose. It is often a conditioned neural pattern reinforced over time by stress, fear, emotional suppression, and nervous system dysregulation. This is not a new idea. Decades ago, Dr. John Sarno, a rehabilitation physician from NYU Medical Center, introduced the concept of Tension Myositis Syndrome, or TMS. Sarno proposed that many chronic pain conditions, especially back pain, neck pain, and migraines, were driven by unconscious emotional stress rather than structural damage. He observed that pain often appeared during periods of emotional strain, caregiving, work pressure, relationship conflict, grief, or major life transitions. And he was very clear about something that still matters today. Their pain was not imagined. It was physiological, but it was driven by the brain. Sarno's work helped many people repattern their pain, but modern neural retraining methods have taken this understanding much further by giving us tools to work directly with the subconscious mind, which is where pain patterns are actually held. And here is why that matters. The conscious mind, the part of you that thinks, analyzes, and tries to figure things out, accounts for only about 10% of brain activity. The subconscious mind makes up the remaining 90%. It governs your nervous system, your stress responses, your emotional memories, and many of the patterns that shape your health. If you have been trying to reason your way out of pain for years without success, this could be why. Chronic pain is often maintained by subconscious associations between pain and fear, pain and responsibility, pain and emotional overwhelm. And these associations are not logical. They're emotional, associative, and often rooted in experiences that the conscious mind barely remembers or doesn't connect to the pain at all. And this is where we start to see patterns. In my work, I often see women develop pain patterns tied to stresses like overextending themselves, overgiving, feeling like there's no room for failure, or perfectionism, to name a few common themes. Women are frequently the emotional shock absorbers in families and communities. They take care of others, perform at work, and learn to minimize their own needs. Over time, that constant self-suppression creates enormous strain on the nervous system, and pain can become the outlet. For men, the pattern is often different but equally powerful. Many men are conditioned from an early age not to express vulnerability, grief, or fear. They are told to master their emotions, but also to be aggressive to succeed, to be strong but not weak, to feel but not show it. These mixed messages often lead to buried anger, unexpressed grief, and emotional disconnection. The nervous system stays on guard, and pain can become the body's way of expressing what was never allowed to be felt. Again, this does not mean that pain is psychological in the dismissive sense. It means that pain is relational. It reflects how the nervous system has learned to respond to life. And so how does subconscious neural retraining help? With advanced neural retraining methods, we don't diagnose symptoms or analyze your life story. Instead, we guide you into a receptive meditative state where the subconscious mind can participate. Clients don't need to know what caused their pain. They don't need to remember all of their trauma, and they don't need to figure it out. During a session, insights often arise naturally. Connections between pain and emotional patterns, beliefs, or past experiences that the conscious mind never would have linked together. These insights are not forced. They simply emerge as the subconscious mind begins to reveal its programming. As emotional charge is neutralized and stress patterns are resolved, the nervous system begins to recalibrate. Sometimes pain shifts during a session. Sometimes it fades temporarily for a few hours or a few days, only to be triggered again. But this is an opportunity to notice what triggers it so that we can break down the pattern further. Remember, this is an iterative process. And for most pain patterns, they resolve gradually over several sessions. And this is important to know. Neural retraining is a process, not a miracle. A single session, of course, can be very powerful, but lasting change usually happens over time as layers of conditioning are addressed. Each session removes a piece of the load your nervous system has been carrying. And one of the most empowering shifts for people with chronic pain is realizing that pain is not an enemy. It is information. It is often a signal that the system has been under unsustainable pressure for too long. When we stop fighting the pain and instead work with the brain patterns that created it, the body responds in remarkable ways. Retraining the brain for chronic pain is not about erasing memories or forcing positivity. It is about helping the subconscious update the survival responses that no longer serve you. And when that happens, the body can finally return to regulation, and healing becomes possible. If you've been stuck in chronic pain and nothing has worked, this approach may offer a new path forward. not because your pain isn't real, but because it is, and it is calling for you to address some hidden issues in your consciousness. You can sign up for a free phone consultation or take our free quiz to learn if neural retraining could be your next best step at tcneuralretraining.com. I work with clients all over the world in private sessions via Zoom video conference. And if this episode resonated with you, please follow the podcast, leave a review, or share it with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for listening, and remember, when you change the patterns in your brain, you open the door for your body to heal. Content of this podcast, copyright 2026 by Twin Cities Neural Retraining. Music by Barbara Ben.